Welcome back to the Cozy Rosy Crochet channel. In today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to create the twisted single crochet that adds a gorgeous textured twist to your fabric. I'm going to talk you through how to work the twisted single crochet in the normal forward fashion. And I'm also going to show you how to work it in reverse into the front loop only, which makes that twist really pop on the right side of your fabric. It really is a brilliant stitch if you want to add interest to stitches, scarves, edging, even blankets. In this photo, I've used it to create my corrugated draft excluder, where it's worked in reverse to create a really thick fabric to keep your rooms warm. The materials that I'm using in this tutorial is simply an Aran weight yarn. I'm using Stylecraft Special Aran, and I have the corresponding hook size, which is 5mm. We're going to quickly make up a foundation chain of 24. So we're just going to yarn over and pull through to make a chain of 24. And that's 24. We're going to begin by working one US double crochet, the same as a UK treble crochet, into the 4th chain from hook. We're then going to work one double crochet into each chain across back to the beginning of our row. If you already have a project that you're looking to work this onto, you don't need to complete this step. You can skip ahead to row 2. At the end of row 1, including those 3 chains that we skipped at the beginning, you should have a stitch count of 22 US double crochets. To create the standard twisted single, you would start by making a chain of 1 and turning your work. We begin by making our twisted single crochet in the same way we make any single crochet, by inserting our hook underneath both loop of our stitches. We yarn over and bring our loop up, and at this point we're going to twist our stitch. For right-handed people, we are going to twist anti-clockwise or counterclockwise, depending where you are in the world. If you're left-handed, you're going to twist it clockwise. So all that means is I always bring my hook back to the further back, and you're going to literally twist the loops on your hook. So you don't want these loops too tight, you just twist. You still have your 2 loops on the hook. We then yarn over and bring that loop through the 2 loops. And we're going to repeat that into each stitch across. So we insert into the next stitch, yarn over and bring our loop up, twist anti-clockwise or counterclockwise if you're right-handed, or you twist clockwise if you're left-handed. We yarn over and bring our hook through the 2 loops on our hook. Insert into the next stitch, yarn over, bring your loop up, twist, yarn over and pull through the 2 loops on your hook. Insert into the next stitch, bring your loop up and twist, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And you can see that it's creating this lovely twisted fabric onto the top of your stitches. Continue to work that all the way down this row, and then we're going to have a look at it together and you're going to absolutely love it. Just make sure that you're twisting in the right direction. So for those right-handers, we're going to be going counterclockwise or anti-clockwise. And then for left-handers, we're going to be going clockwise. So insert, bring your loop up, bring your hook down across the top of your project and pull through the 2 loops. When you get into it, you can of course go as quickly as making your standard single crochet. When you reach the end of the row, don't forget to work into that chain of 3 that we skipped at the beginning. Just treat it as a stitch and go into the top of the 3rd chain to complete your final twisted single crochet. With that technique of working the twisted single crochet underneath both loops of your stitch, you can see that it creates an absolutely glorious edging on top of those stitches. This is ideal for finishing off projects to give it a bit of intrigue without having to use a lot of yarn and giving it quite a firm and solid edge. As I mentioned earlier, you can also work this stitch in reverse. Before we do that, we're going to have to set up a new foundation row. I'm just going to quickly work a new foundation swatch with the same number of stitches. You can join me if you like, or just pull back what you've already worked. I'm going to make a chain of 24, working 1 double crochet into the 4th and each chain across. So with the reverse twisted single crochet, this time we are not going to turn our work at the end of row 1. We're actually going to work the stitch in reverse, and we're also only going to work into the front loop of our stitch. So instead of turning and working in the normal direction, we remain with the right side of our fabric facing us. We still begin by making a turning chain of 1, but this time, instead of entering our hook through both loops of our stitch, we're going to kind of come through the middle of the stitch to pick up just the first loop. We yarn over and bring that loop up, and then we twist to create that twisted single crochet. I'm going to show you all of that again because it always feels too fast. So we haven't turned, and if you've only got one row, you'll have your slip knot just by your hook. We're not working into the next stitch, we're working one stitch behind our hook. This is our turning chain of 1, and this is the stitch. We've got our front loop, which is the one closest to us, and our back loop, which is the furthest away. We simply insert the hook through the middle of the stitch to pick up the front loop. We yarn over and bring our loop up. This gives us those 2 loops we need to create our single crochet. Once again, we're going to twist either counterclockwise or anti-clockwise for us right-handers, or clockwise for those left-handers. So we twist, yarn over and pull through the 2 loops. We then need to work into the next stitch behind our hook. So you can see we have our back loop furthest away from us and our front loop closest. So we insert through the middle of the stitch to pick up that front loop. We yarn over, bring our loop up. We're going to twist, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. It's not going to look like much yet, but keep going. There's our next stitch just behind our hook. Insert and pick up just the front loop. Yarn over, bring your loop back through. Oh, I didn't twist. Twist, yarn over and pull through 2. Again, once you've got a bit of a hang of it, it gets a little bit quicker. You do need to keep an eye on where that yarn is. Bring the loop up, twist, and pull through 2. You might be thinking, what is the point of working this stitch in reverse and just into that front loop? It will become more apparent when we go to work our next row. Whereas before we worked it into both loops of those stitches, it meant that we have nothing left to work into other than the stitch itself, the actual twisted stitch, which is a little bit complicated. By working it just into the front loop of our stitch, we leave the back loop at the back of our project to continue working our next row. Now, once again, at the end of row 2, you're going to have to work into that kind of chain 3 that we skipped. So I'm just going to pick up the front loop of that 3rd chain to work that final twisted single crochet. And I like to think the texture looks even better in this version. But what you'll notice, you see how those stitches have popped up at the back? So again, we don't turn at the end of this row. We're going to continue to work with the right side of our fabric. We're going to make our chain of 3, which counts as our first double crochet, and we're going to work into those back loops that are hiding just behind those twisted single crochets we made in the previous row. So you can fold them down out of the way, and those loops are the back loops of those stitches you just made. So we're going to yarn over and insert into that first back loop, yarn over to bring your loop up so you have those 3 loops on your hook ready to complete your US double crochet, the same as a UK treble crochet. We're just going to continue to work 1 double crochet into each stitch across, or the back loop of the stitch from the previous row across. just skipped ahead so you can see once they are made how glorious that texture is and how proud it stands from those stitches. When you get to the end of the row where you previously worked into the top of the chain 3, you just need to work into the other loop of that turning chain to complete the row and maintain your stitch count. But that to me is the most glorious texture, and I can picture it being used in so many different projects. You can change the stitch height between the rows of the twisted single crochets as well. If you don't want so much space between that ribbing, you can obviously do a half double crochet or even a single crochet row in between. The important bit is that you are only working into that front loop. So let me begin another row with you. You make a turning chain of 1, inserting just into that front loop of the stitch behind the hook from the top, kind of through, yarn over, bring your loop up, twist either counterclockwise, anti-clockwise for the right-handed, or clockwise for the left-handed, yarn over and pull through 2. Find that next stitch behind your hook and repeat. To ensure that the loops don't become too loose, you just need to make sure that your working yarn is not too far behind your hook, because it does like to disappear. So when you've yarned over to bring the loop up, keep that yarn quite close to where you're twisting so you don't have too big a loop between your hook and the stitch you're working. It can certainly feel a little bit strange working this stitch in reverse and having that twisted stitch at the same time, but I think you'll agree that once you get into it, it certainly becomes a little bit quicker and a little bit easier. Don't forget to work into the top of your turning chain to finish off your row and to not affect your stitch count. But there we are. That is how you work both the twisted single crochet and the reverse twisted single crochet. I think you will agree. I really prefer the reverse, I have to admit. But I hope you have enjoyed learning about the twisted single crochet stitch. If you do give this a try, I would love to see what you make with it, and do tag me so I can have a look. And if you would like more stitch tutorials like this, don't forget to subscribe and let me know in the comments what you'd like to learn next. I'm wishing you the happiest of crochet times, and I'll see you in the next video.